Badagry Heritage Museum tour, part 2. That's a slave that escaped. You can see clearly, it's not so clear, but if you can see it, you can see the dog attacking the slave. They hold the neck, they bite, hold on there till the slave dies. If the slave fights the dog, the owners will release another dog to attack them. So treatments are just different ways of treating different slaves: hanging them, flogging them, tying them, different ways slaves were treated for trying to escape or fighting, or any crime that they felt the slaves committed. They really give it to them over there. Flogging. Captain John Brown, was an abolitionist trying to fight the whole slave trade thing. So they took him, arrested him, and he was to be killed. He was actually killed. He was actually killed for different counts, inciting slaves to fight and all that. He was an abolitionist, great one. Well, you see that photograph where they were pointing at the floor? The woman killed her children. That's Garner, Margaret Garner killed her kids, so that they won't be taken as slaves. They'd rather die than become slaves. Posters for different things, colored people that escaped, slaves that escaped, and all that. So that's a photograph of slaves fighting his bosses and owners. These were just slave adverts, people trying to pay, giving reward for the return of their slaves. $30, $1,400 reward for slaves. Runaway slaves, find them, blah 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 blah. $100 reward, slave to run away. Many slaves trying to run away, then fighting, escaping. So let's see more stuff. Alright, so you had photographs, slaves in the home. So you had two slaves really, slaves in the plantations and slaves in the home. So you see these ones in the plantations. All these plantations, plantation slaves. They usually gag their mouth, so that they don't take things from the plantation. They don't eat anything, they don't do anything. So plantation slaves are all these ones here. So all plantation slaves. Yeah, these are slaves that were, considered unfit to be sold. Yeah, this is a gagged slave. I don't know if you can see it very well. His mouth was gagged. So he doesn't eat anything or touch anything or their food and all. The slaves in the home, these house slaves like these ones here, house slaves, the men were castrated. So plantation slaves, they help in the plantation, collect stuff. So these slaves were regarded as wet nurses. These ones here, wet nurses. They take their babies from them, but they breastfeed and take care of the babies of the whites. Wet nurses. Interesting. You hated them, they were slaves. How come you allowed them to breastfeed your baby? Sugarcane refinery. I wonder. Still plantation slaves. I think the slaves in the home actually got better treatment than the plantation slaves. Slaves in the home, because they work closely with the master or the master's children. These are plantation slaves. For the ones in the home, they work closely with the master or the master's children. The good thing was you had sometimes the families treating them really nice, like the master or the kids. Yeah, these were home slaves. This man was castrated. I've forgotten their name. This guy was castrated. Yeah. But the kids usually, or the women in the home sometimes had, soft spots for the slaves in the home and treated them better. Treated them, well. The men usually were really tough on their slaves, but the wives and the kids, can have better treatment. So generally, slaves at home, fed better. Yeah, so they were having anti-slaves meetings. So all these guys were abolitionists, So anti-slave meetings, trying to stop slaves, trying to stop the slave trade. So Ford was one of those. When you buy a car from Ford, right? So the money was being used to fund anti-slavery things. So many of those whites at that time were protesting, stop buying Ford cars, because Ford cars were being used, or rather the money from those purchases were being used to fight, the whole slavery thing. These are the Amazons from Dahomey. I think the women in that movie Black Panther, I think those women warriors were fashioned after these Dahomey Amazons. They fought for the whole slave trade thing. Aha! This right here, Harriet Tubman rescued more than 300 slaves. She was regarded as the Moses of her time. She escaped and started making sure that other slaves escaped too. So she was freeing them. And that's Captain John Brown, radical abolitionist. He was killed, because of his stance on slave trade. He really wanted to fight it, so he was fighting, freeing them. I told man worked with him one time, but they lost particular battle where he was caught. That's Nat Turner. Trump. It's all about the abolitionists now. This Olauduah Equaino. Yeah, Olauduah Equaino. He was an Igbo guy born in the Kingdom of Benin. That's Benin, in Edo State. And he bought his freedom and wrote about it. And he was also a top abolitionist too. Nigerian born in Benin. He was taken in Benin, as a boy at about 11, him and his sister. So they were taken, became slaves, separated at about 11, born at about, they were separated about that time. And funny thing is, he was sold 10 times. His name was changed 3 times. Crazy stuff. So when these slave guys, some of those that were freed when they came back, started building things. This is the CMS church. It was built by returning slaves. This is the mosque, the Shitta Central Mosque, built by returning slaves. You can see the Brazilian architecture. So they had learned a lot about Brazilian culture, how they do it. So Holy Cross Cathedral too, in Lagos Island, Brazilian architecture. So they had learned a lot, Brazilian architecture, how they build things, and they brought most of those things that they had learned. They brought it back and started building here. They also brought other things, like the carnival that you see, Brazilian dance culture, all of that. So you have people of Badagry, people in Calabar, people in Lagos Island, doing those carnivals because of all those things that they learned while they were in Brazil. Many Africans that were taken went to those Brazilian fields, plantation fields. That's the point of no return. This is the point of no return in Badagry. Yeah, that's it. Point of no return. Once you get to this point, the slaves ain't coming back. No slave comes back. At that point, they were out. Yeah, that's Richard Lander, one of the Lander brothers. Yeah, at the Vlekete shrine in Badagry. He was an explorer, so they had a trial there. Are you really here for explore, or you are here for some other thing? So they had to check him out, and he was freed. They found out that he was really an explorer, and he was. Unlike people that came after him, many of those other guys that came after him were just pretending, and later they started to stop. That's Gberefu Island, the point of no return island. Before slave trade, Gberefu Island, point of no return island, was really focused on salt. They did lots of salt and all. And that's Sato drum. That's the second largest drum in Africa. Yeah. And the funny thing is, this drum is beaten by orphans alone. If you're not an orphan, you're not supposed to beat this drum. So it is beaten only by orphans. and it comes out at certain ceremonial times. The sato drum. I think this is the real height of the sato drum. Second largest drum in Africa. So what do we have here? That is slave jetty. All the areas that lead to the point of no return. All the areas that lead to the point of no return. As a British cannon gun given to one of the slave folks or the slave. Yeah, maybe the slave folks, one of the kings at that time, prominent families at that time, by the British. You know, the legated slave market established 1502. All the point of no return things, all that. So what else do we see? That's the first story building, Nigeria. Yeah, built in Badagry. Yeah, so Badagry masquerades, different masquerades showing the different culture of the Badagry people. Yeah, dance culture, different masquerades, you know, all that. Different things happening in Badagry. Yeah. Tradition of the people, basically. Canoes, fishing. Yeah, so that's Badagry in 1889. And now, Zagbeto masquerade. You know, one pretty common Badagry masquerade. That's it. You could see them in a really crazy stuff. That's the sato drum I was telling you about, beaten only by orphans. Second tallest drum in Africa. That's Zagbeto masquerade I was telling you about. So these are the cultural things I was saying. The carnivals that happen. You can see carnivals in Badagry, carnivals in Calabar, Brazil, Lagos Island. Pretty similar because of all those people that came back, you know, from, you know, at the end when the slave trade was abolished. They came with all this, so they shared it and they just continue living their lives here with it. So these are other religions and I think that's a tribal king here in Badagry. That's something they photographed from Brazil, something related. Yeah, the Abolitionists and all that. Yeah, that's William Wilberforce. You know his story? The famous William Wilberforce. Shrines in Badagry. You know, they're just showing things generally that came from Badagry here. You know, sorry, that came from Brazil here. So that's Badagry 1889. So it's Badagry today. If you look at the 1889 pictures, you can see the thatched houses, you know, around the time where you had those explorers coming into Nigeria, Badagry and all that. Then this is 2019, you know, today. That's how it looks. You can see the bridge. Yeah, that's the semi bridge down, you know, in that photo. I don't know if you can see it, but it's somewhere down there. All right, guys, thank you.